Kia ora, g'day, welcome back. Here with my first reaction to this 60 Minutes documentary, which was sent to me a while ago by one of the kind supporters over there in Perth, Western Australia. And this is where that blanking clown Andrew Wasty apparently has a sook or something here in this, as well as Sergeant A, who I refer to as Sergeant Ballbag, who's also a witness against Ben Roberts-Smith. So let's have a look.
You may not like what we're about to reveal. It's the unpalatable truth about a group of men Australians think of as heroes. They're Special Forces soldiers from SAS and commando regiments who fought in the war in Afghanistan. It's not in dispute the men put their lives on the line for their country. But what's questioned is the way a small number did battle. Tonight, you'll hear damning allegations from their fellow soldiers about men taking the law into their own hands and committing what could amount to serious war crimes, including the execution of innocent civilians and detainees. This story is a joint investigation by the Sydney Morning Herald, The Age and 60 Minutes, and is the culmination of 2 years of extraordinary research by renowned journalists Chris Masters and Nick McKenzie. Here's Nick.
Couple of extraordinary wank stains.
Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, is not a destination for the nervous. In this war-ruined city, you take your pick of threats. Too many people carry weapons. Others prefer suicide bombs. As harsh as it sounds, life here usually has less value than in Australia. But not always.
Just so people know, this video will probably get blocked from YouTube, just like my other 60 Minutes reactions. So, yeah, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it.
I'm meeting the family of a man you've probably never heard of, or ever would have, except for one sensational claim. That he was murdered after being detained and handcuffed by elite Australian soldiers. Assalamu alaikum. Nice to meet you. Ali Jan's wife and children are getting used to fielding inquiries from curious Australians.
So thank you for travelling so far. I know it's been a big journey for all of you.
3 months ago, AFP detectives were here as part of the most secretive and sensitive murder investigation.
Why do you think Australian soldiers are responsible for your husband's death?
They killed him. The whole world says they killed him. He has not committed any crime or cruelty. They killed him for no reason.
And it's not just the AFP. The Australian military's chief war crimes investigator also wants to know what happened to Ali Jan and who was responsible.
The allegations about what happened here in Afghanistan during our longest war are deeply disturbing. Significantly, they come from within the ranks of our own Special Forces.
It's Special Forces soldiers who first spoke up about what happened to Ali Jan. In fact, in a war where thousands of Afghans have lost their lives, his death might just be the most significant of all.
If it's SF soldiers that have spoken up about their role and what they witnessed and what they saw in terms of these allegations of this person being kicked off a cliff or murdered, a detainee, these gutless pricks, whoever they are, should have spoken up to the hierarchy and through the chain of command. They should have laid a formal complaint. They should have documented it, written it down. They should have communicated an email to make sure that their points and everything that they wanted to get across was clear and as accurate as they can and or could, so that they've got a record of that and send it to whoever they need to send it to, in addition to obviously sitting down, having the conversation, speaking with those who they believed were involved in a cover-up or war crimes, speaking with the chain of command as part of that within their squadron, within their troop, within their squadron, and indeed within the regiment, and then document each part of those things as they went along. not wait until however many years after the fact, not continue to hang out and say that these are some of your best mates, attend the weddings, be the best man at the wedding, do this, that, and the other, like with the lads, as though everybody's still tight. And then once RS leaves, then come out with these war crime allegations. 60 Minutes does a great job of spinning this narrative and making it seem like if you were watching this for the first time, you'd be sitting there thinking, like I am, you'd be sitting there, except I'm not thinking these things, but I'm thinking from those from a non-military perspective, sitting there watching it for the first time. You could probably almost forgive those who have no military experience watching this, who don't know anything about the unit and what it does, for thinking that the SAS are just a bunch of rogue war criminals, which they're not. But what is concerning is the cowardly acts of whoever these supposed witnesses are over a 4-year period from 2009 to 2012, when these allegations are alleged to have taken place or reported to have taken place years after the fact. It's those people that I am, not happy with in terms of just the cowardly acts that they appear to have done.
Every Australian should care if their husband went for a litre of milk and he didn't come home.
Was that guy with his face covered, is this the Sergeant Ballbag twat I've been talking about?
Until now, everything about this inquiry has been kept confidential. No one in the military has discussed publicly exactly who and what they're investigating.
Because they're not supposed to be. Like, they should have gone through their chain of command. And like I said, that might not be the exact way to deal with a formal complaint within the military, but at least it's going through the chain of command and protecting yourself as the person making the complaint by documenting it and then sending that to those who you've just either had a conversation with. As an example, if you had a conversation with one of the hierarchy in and around your concerns over potential war crimes taking place, well, then you would either follow that up with an email after, hey, mate, just send in a follow-up based on our conversation that we had. These are the points that we covered off on. Just wanted to put it in an email so that we got a record or whatever. Just something to confirm that this conversation did take place on this date and time. There's a bit of an email trail. Hopefully that person who you've had the conversation with in the chain of command replies back to you and goes, yes, I agree, email received. Your summary looks like an accurate reflection of the things that we discussed or whatever. Does that mean that that will back you up and support you in a trial? I don't know. But at least if it's done way back then, closer to and or indeed within the time frame of when these allegations are supposedly are alleged to have occurred, then at least it's better than doing nothing for years, waiting till the main person, in this case RS, has left, resigned from the regiment, out of the military and is out, looking to crack on with his life, and then coming out years after the fact to try to bring him down over some vendettas that people had because they got kicked out of the squadron for being useless, over feeling like that he didn't earn or deserve the Victoria Cross and trying to have that rescinded. Just real petty crap stuff. An officer feeling like he was treated like a scumbag, who then later resigned because he received the Cock of the Year award. Should be, like I said, Cock of the Century award is what he should be upgraded to. I don't think there'd be any disputes on that award being upgraded to a waste bag wasty. So there's just too many things, like now and looking back in hindsight, for these, in my opinion, for these witnesses, on top of that they've asked for immunity, that they're openly admitted, yeah, I killed one of these people. Like, there were 3 other soldiers that killed 3 of these supposed detainees based on the allegations, and they want immunity so that they don't have to pay any consequences. It's just BS. It's not right at all. So even if these allegations are true, then everybody involved should be facing the music.
That all changes with this story. In remote locations in Australia, we arranged secret meetings with serving members of the Special Forces.
G'day. See ya.
They reveal stories of war crimes they claim were committed by their brothers in arms in Afghanistan.
Another gutless Lincoln Wankstain right here, whoever this guy is this the Sergeant Ballbag that people were telling me about? The sergeant shows up, has his face covered to talk. To the media, mind you, didn't get booted out of the unit, believed, if it's the same guy, based on the other articles that I've read, believed that he had permission or license to speak with the media, which is just a truckload of rubbish. I don't know what course he sat in on that made him or led him to believe that he just goes straight to the media. Why you don't go through your chain of command, to me, again, is another sign of how pathetic and weak these witnesses are.
I think they actually thought they were above the law. I think they actually thought they were not going to be caught, that it was a free-for-all.
And I think
This sounds familiar. Maybe this is the BRS 60 Minutes reaction that I did ages ago, would have been last year. Because the term, they thought they were above the law, that rings a bell. Because I remember saying in the reaction, if you're saying they, why is it just RS having the finger pointed in it? Maybe I have seen this before.
it's fair to say, in some cases, straight murder.
Tonight, the extraordinary revelations of two serving SAS soldiers who say they're duty-bound to expose the failings of their own regiment. The words are theirs. The voices have been changed.
Special Air Services Regiment gets a lot of kudos. We've been highly decorated, both with individual honours and unit awards, citations and battle honours. To know that that's not quite the picture, that there's this grubby element, this dirty element that existed throughout our time in Afghanistan, there's nothing to be proud of there.
Well, what the truck did you do about it, bro? What did you do about it apart from running off and squealing to the media? Who did you speak to in the unit if there's this grubby underworld piece or whatever it is that you described in the regiment? What the puck did you do about it? The answer is nothing. You did nothing. Why? Maybe because you're one of those useless twats that got the ass over to 4 Squadron.
The risks our SAS insiders are taking in speaking out, even with their identities protected, cannot be underestimated. It could cost them their careers, land them in a military...
Clearly it didn't cost them their careers. The clowns bloody got promoted and they got kept and left based on the article that I read anyway, the West Australian article, I think it was, a reaction that I did a while ago. They got kept in the unit. It sounds like they got a promotion and nothing happened to them. So how the truck that works, it just seems like, I don't know, things have changed. And then based on one of the other articles that I did a live reaction to recently about that bloody Wankstain Wasty, him and his failed one of the validation shoots, it seems like, based on what I read on the CQB course, instead of getting the ass RTU'd like a third, I think the article said, of the other members on that cycle, instead of him getting the ass with them and getting sent back to his unit, he was comforted by some ball bag named Pete Winnell, a major there, and allowed to stay, didn't receive his beret, so didn't get badged with his cohort, and yet they still put him in charge of a troop anyway. Like, what the truck has happened to that place? I'd like to think it's not like that, but surprised that now I think that sets a precedent for any other ball bag that goes along in there and fails a part of the course and fails the retest within that time frame period of when it used to be. So if there are guys that weren't up to scratch, you get some retraining, retesting, but still within the course time frame. And if you didn't pass it, if you still failed within that time frame of when the course was running, well then, sorry, bros, like that's it. See you later. Seems like, and I could be wrong, so I'm making an assumption here, but it seems like Hasty failed the course entirely. So the 12-week course, failed it entirely, didn't get badged with his cohort, and then got put in charge of a squadron, put in charge of a troop within a squadron. And then however many, so that would have been several months or whatever, and however long he's in charge of that troop for, before he then, I assume, gets retested again, gets retrained again, goes through the whole course again, and then eventually passes. I like to think he bloody passed. Hopefully he passed the validation shoot. The validation shoots aren't easy, and they're not meant to be. But they're the same. It's the same standard for everyone, whether you're a trooper, private, whether you're a corporal, whether you're a sergeant, whether you're an officer. When you're going through the cycle, like everybody has to be able to meet the same minimum standard in order for you to be deemed competent and pass that course. So clearly he's had extra time and been given, I don't know, special privileges to stay in the regiment and not be given the arse back to his parent unit, which is just mind-blowing to me.
Prison, or they could face other blowback, in part because of what they're saying about our most decorated soldier. Who are you talking about?
We're talking about Ben Robert Smith.
So this is this ball bag, I think. Was he the one that was upset about being? So I don't know. There's a few people there that got the arse from 2 Squadron. One of them was a coward, and so accuses, from what I understand, accuses RS of being a bully, because RS, I believe, and I think others too, would have made it well known that that guy was a coward, chose to stay and cover the rear, wasn't brave enough. I think verbally said that in the defamation case. He wasn't brave enough to do what RS did, etc., etc. Some other twat who disputes RS's VC, how and why, I don't know. But when RS has spoken about, there's just this little group of a jealous boy band in regards to what RS has done and achieved, and other members within the patrol. It just, for me, it makes it seem like there's so many gaps in this prosecution's case, and especially with these clowns coming straight to the media instead of going through the chain of command. That in and of itself, I can't understand how and why the regiment didn't automatically either suspend or just boot them out of the unit. Go, yeah, thanks for your time. You haven't come through the chain of command. You've made no formal complaint with us. You haven't spoken with anybody here. And you've gone against what the protocols are. Like, see you later. You're getting sent away. They probably would have just gone all out. Maybe they would have shown their faces. Probably not, the bloody cowards that they are. But the fact that the regiment hasn't dealt with that, doesn't seem like, in any sort of meaningful way, and has allowed them to stay in the unit, is, that to me is weak also, in terms of whoever the leadership and stuff was at that time. Like, that's a significant breach, you know? Like, you don't have to be special forces, like just being in the army and then speaking out of turn and contacting the media without going through the formal chain of command or due process. Why they didn't do that? Because they were scared? Again, like, what the truck are you doing in the regiment if your hard wiring upstairs is that way inclined, and you don't have the courage to go and speak with some of the hierarchy to voice your concerns? It's just, yeah, it's pathetic and weak, in my opinion, anyway.
You're accusing him of engagement in war crimes.
I am.
Ben Robert Smith is Australia's...
If you are, why didn't you do that through the chain of command? I'll keep mentioning that because I think it's a valid point. Why didn't you go through the chain of command and accuse him of war crimes when those things happened? Why wait till years later? Why act like a cowardly little weasel, a little rat rodent, and go behind the regiment's back and go straight to the media? Why?
most famous Afghanistan war veteran, the recipient of a Victoria Cross for bravery.
To be presented the Victoria Cross for Australia, Corporal Benjamin Robert Smith.
He denies he's done anything wrong, but we've confirmed he is a suspect at the centre of both the Federal Police and Australian Defence Force investigations into Ali Jan's death.
Just the whole narrative, eh? But we've confirmed, and then they put in there, he's a suspect. But they've already, the way that they manipulate and use the words, it's smart, the media. This twat, Dick McKenzie. The framing of the war crimes, how they're going about doing all these things, trying to make these witnesses out to be brave and courageous, although they're cowardly and hidden in the shadows, changing their voice, or getting other people to, to speak their words. It's not brave. It's not courageous. These guys are trucking twats.
It's important for the regiment that if these rumours are true...
There's the blinking wank Drew Wasty himself.
Then we take action and we move on and we account for ourselves. But if they're false, then...
What's important is that if these things were true, you should have, you bloody wankstain, you should have done something about it whilst you were in. You should have raised it. You should have followed through. The articles that I've read, you never at any time made any sort of formal complaint about it. You had conversations with the troop sergeant. You had conversations with your squadron OC, which was a major. And apparently you spoke with the CO. So there are 3 levels within the hierarchy. The sergeant is subordinate to you, obviously. The major is superior to you, and the CO is superior to you. So you've had a conversation with these people, not made a formal complaint about it. We don't know what the context of your conversation is with those superiors because your boyfriend, Paul Brereton, has exempted the leadership from being investigated in regards to these alleged war crimes. And here you are hanging out with your other boyfriend, Dick McKenzie, sitting here like you're the blinking poster boy of the regiment, when Dan Fortune has called you out on the Two Worlds Collide podcast with Sam Bamford. You are, mind you, he's been a lot more thoughtful. He's clearly intelligent. Dan Fortune, this is. I'm not talking about this twat Wasty. And he's a lot more considered in his words, whereas I'm none of those things.
The regiment is cleared and we get on with the job.
Coming up.
A hero is not someone who harms innocent.
He just said the regiment is cleared, we get on with the job. It doesn't sound like you're understanding the things that you've said and or done and or the damage that you've done, Wastebag. You're the one that stood in Parliament and accused the regiment of having a toxic warrior culture. And you've gone on to then not witness anything, but support your rejected mates who got the boot from 2 Squadron based on things that they've said. So you didn't witness anything. And you have the cheek to go and be called as a witness and or provide evidence in a defamation case or in any case, and you're potentially going to be called as a witness in the criminal trial. I hope you're called as a witness because I hope the defence is prepared and that they rip you to shreds with regards to your rubbish that you've spoken about. Seeing his face on here, I don't think I have. So earlier when I was saying I think I've reacted to this before, I don't think I have. There must have been bits and pieces of this which were cut and inserted into that other 60 minutes video or video that was online that has since been at least blocked on my channel anyway, because I don't recall seeing Wankstain Wasty on the other one that I did a reaction to.
Individuals.
Rats in the ranks.
A law unto themselves.
Or courage under fire.
Did they take that too far?
People were focused on kills.
Why these SAS fighters...
How do you feel when people say, oh, this is all about taking down our war heroes?
...are attacking their own?
It is going to be hard.
I don't know why the operator's sitting there saying this is all about kills when Scott Jones has spoken about one of the metrics or KPIs for mission success was the number of dead insurgents, dead Taliban insurgents. If that's a concern to you as an operator, then don't join the unit, mate. Don't serve in the unit. Don't deploy, leave. Nobody's forcing you to stay in country. If you're not liking what it is that you're seeing, if you don't agree with it, and if you're speaking up and nothing's happening, well then don't go out. Stand your ground. What's the worst that's going to happen to you? You get court-martialed or whatever, you get defense, you get support, whatever it is that you need to do. But stand your ground in terms of if you're not happy with what's going on. It sounds like whoever these guys are just weren't happy with what was going on, and or they were too trucking useless at their job and they got the boot from there and sent somewhere else.
Some people to accept.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
From what we've been told, this is the only photo in existence of Ali Jan.
Is that photo able to be confirmed? that this is Ali Jan? Is it able to be confirmed that that's who he is? Is it confirmed that he's not a Taliban insurgent? I don't know. Or is it just some random photo of somewhere? Like, are there records? I don't know. But I think they're fair enough questions to ask. We're seeing a photo. Is there a birth certificate? Is that even a thing? Is there any way? My question is there any way to confirm that this is Ali Jan? Looks like a war-fighting age male. If I'm being honest, looking at it or looking at him. But is this Ali Jan? Is there evidence to support that this is actually him? This is the only photo? How did we get this photo? Where did this photo come from? From the family? So the family's got this photo, but there's no other photos? Like, I don't know. It just seems weird. Out of all the photos, we decided to just have this one photo. Maybe there's more. Maybe I'm wrong.
Was an unremarkable Afghan farmer killed on September 11, 2012, 11 years to the day since the 9/11 catastrophe that started the Afghan conflict. But the story of his death and how he came to incur the wrath of Australian soldiers actually began a fortnight earlier with another deadly incident. At a small forward operating base in Uruzgan province, an Afghan army sergeant named Hekmatullah went from ally to enemy when he turned his weapon on Australian soldiers. At point-blank range, he killed Corporal Rick Milosevic, Sapper James Martin and Private Robert Pote. Hekmatullah fled immediately.
And he's enjoying freedom right now and apparently celebrated by the Talibs for infiltrating into a coalition base and carrying out murders of 3 Australian soldiers. Was caught, apparently, was jailed, was sentenced supposedly and supposed to receive the death penalty. Well, that didn't last. The coalition withdrew, Talibs took back over, and he's released.
And the SAS was given a pretty important job to do after that. What was it?
Correct. We were given the task of finding Hekmatullah.
For 2 weeks, the SAS unsuccessfully chased the fugitive. Then came a tip-off he might be in a tiny village called Darwan, deep in Taliban Badlands. The Australian Special Forces soldiers, including Patrol Commander Ben Robert Smith, flew straight to the village. As coincidence would have it, Ali Jan was also in Darwan that day, collecting flour for his wife and children.
Well, it's amazing how you can spin any narrative you like. The media seem to be gobbling up. He's there collecting flour for his wife or for his family. It's just no thought or consideration given to, it seems, to the soldiers charged with hunting down a person who blatantly, clearly lied, did a great job, managed to infiltrate the system, in this case a coalition compound at a forward operating base and murder 3 Australians, then escape. RS and his team have received intelligence and a tip that is in this known Taliban stronghold, which the media has said, Hekmatullah that is, and so they get on a aircraft to head straight there to go hunting. And apparently there's this innocent farmer. Out of all these people, there's an innocent farmer which is kicked off a supposed cliff it's made out to be. Then it's mentioned something else in one of the other articles that I read and did a reaction to the other night.
Was Hekmatullah there?
Hekmatullah was not there, no.
What happened on the ground?
The mission was conducted over a number of hours. We probably spoke to 50 individuals, and of that, we determined there was probably 5 or roughly 5 who needed to go back to Tarin Kowt to answer further questioning.
It was an operation much like this one. Men of fighting age were questioned and some detained. They included Ali Jan, who was allegedly handcuffed and held near this compound next to this sandy cliff.
Hang on. Sandy cliff. That's not a cliff. Sandy, looks sandy. If that's the one that they're talking about, to me, that doesn't fit the description of a cliff. You can see a person walking down it. I don't know what cliffs Dick Mackenzie's been on in his life, but a cliff to me, you can't walk down it, not like this guy is, and you wouldn't be able to climb up it, like not without ropes and all that sort of stuff, and applying, proper lead climbing and climbing techniques in general. I would imagine that would be hard to go up. Yep, but you could get up that, and clearly you can walk down it. So anyway, I know there's been a lot made of the alleged cliff that a detainee was kicked off. In this case, they're talking about Ali Jan, or Ali Jan. It does not look like a cliff to me anyway.
Compound next to this sandy cliff.
The majority of soldiers were highly professional, used impeccable judgment, were morally and ethically, above board.
So then, if that's the case, and all these soldiers there and they witness this, why the truck aren't they all testifying against Ares? How come it's just you and whoever the other twat is, and then Wastebag?
But despite that, our SAS insider says Ali Jan didn't stand a chance. He says a small number of his SAS colleagues were preoccupied with revenge, their feelings fueled by a Spartan warrior culture.
Find plenty of both down there.
Exemplified in a well-watched movie, 300. This warrior culture that people talk about, what was it? How did it come to
It's a good movie, that 300. Just saying.
be?
It's hard to put your finger on how it came to be. I think it's fair to say that the majority of the unit were not caught up in it.
These soldiers who thought they were warriors, how do they act?
Well, I think that's probably one of the honest things that this coward has said. I'd like to think, and that's my take too, like if these allegations are true, as I've shared multiple times, I've never come across it, I never witnessed it, I never observed it, I never heard it, anything like that even been spoken about. I would assume, and I would think that those going into the unit, I would have said nobody's like that, personally. I would have said nobody's going in there with the wiring upstairs to just go and murder unarmed detainees, like capture people and then just murder them. That's what I would have said. I still feel like that, but there's no way of knowing now just because of all the ambiguity and everything that these apparent witnesses have thrown out there into the interwebs and everything in regards to the regiment. Like including that twat Wasty. All they've done is harm the regiment's reputation, even just listening to the words in which they're speaking about. On one hand, they're saying there's this group, and it goes from they to Ben Robert Smith is a war criminal. Then they talk about the majority of the guys are above board, professional, this, that, and the other. And then he's just said here, I think the majority, are good or wouldn't do that. And then they're saying that there was a small group of people. At no point am I hearing them say that they questioned it, that they raised concerns, that they escalated it. Like if there's a small group of people, don't get me wrong, I realize history is showing, right? A small group of people can blink and be extremely powerful and dominant and take over things. I think the Nazis come to mind in regards to that. But if the majority of a unit like the Special Air Service Regiment, to what this guy is saying, are good, essentially, and you've got one little pocket of group of people that are bad, well then surely you escalate, you speak to, and the majority will blink and swarm on those small numbers and truck them off, like hold them to account, truck them off if they need to. That's what I would have thought would happen, but it doesn't sound like any of these guys have done any of that.
Or unto themselves. Very little respect for command. Couldn't be told what to do. Couldn't be told that they were doing the wrong thing.
Again, if they had very little respect for command, couldn't be told what to do, etc., what that twat has just said, What were the leadership doing? Why has Paul Brereton exempted them from being investigated if the officers, the hierarchy, were being so badly disrespected? Troopers, corporals, sergeants are subordinate to the troop commander, are subordinate to the SSM, are subordinate to the squadron OC, the RSM, the CO, etc. Whoever's in charge of Special Operations Command, the officers, those people that are part of that strategic headshed leadership, tactical, etc. Probably more tactical on the ground with the sergeants and the patrol commanders, etc. The operators on the ground, I'll give them that. But if there was so much dissent being shown by this small group of people, and in this case they are accusing RS and some other people of it, what did those leaders do? What did they do? And then why isn't that in and of itself investigated, for starters? Need to get to the bottom of that. Like, there's just too many gaps as I listen to this, and too many people that either didn't have the balls to speak up and say anything and or do anything, and or who knew about what was happening and still did nothing. You know? So it's just, man, there's just a whole bunch of stuff running through my head in terms of failings if these allegations are true. And that's all based on if the allegations are true, because it's all these blinking cowards here, from what I can see, are spouting.
Did some blokes take the idea of being like the ancient Spartan warriors, did they take that too far?
Yeah, I'd say yes. In that I think people were focused on kills. You know, who's got a kill? Who killed someone on this trip? Who did this when we went outside the wire?
Did you bring any of this up, bro? Did you mention any of this at any time during your time in the unit? Did you? Did you document anything down? Did you make any formal complaints? Like, if you're seeing these things and being exposed to it, job after job, operation after operation, deployment after deployment, what did you do? Aside from run to your boyfriend, Dick McKenzie, and sit down, hide your face, and talk about this stuff, and then go back to the regiment, and seems like you got a high five and a pat on the back, and because you didn't get booted out, which is just, again, mind-blowing to me.
Move!
Eyewitness and SAS insider accounts help piece together Ali Jan's last surviving moments.
Let's go.
Witnesses allege his hands were bound. He was taken from the compound to the cliff. He was placed on his knees near the edge. And an Australian soldier took a short run up and then kicked the Afghan farmer, like a scene from the movie 300.
Again, that's a good scene in the movie 300. I don't know why they keep showing it. Well, I do know why they keep showing it for this particular video that 60 Minutes is doing, because they're, again, trying to emphasize and support the allegations that these cowards that they're speaking with have been talking about.
This is somebody in the custody of the SAS.
This was an individual, a local individual, civilian, who was at that point in time, yes, in custody by members of the SAS.
This is the second serving SAS member to reveal the name of one of the soldiers he claims figured in the brutal death of Ali Jan.
Another one of the useless pucks that got kicked out of 2 Squadron and sent to 4 Squadron. Is that who the second witness is?
Who do you think kicked the man, the prisoner of war, at Small Cliff?
The individual that kicked the detainee off the cliff was Ben Roberts-Smith.
And so this second witness who saw this, again, no balls about him, did nothing, eh? Did absolutely nothing for years later, and then has come and spoken to his boyfriend, Twat McKenzie. Amazing.
You're saying this about Australia's most famous soldier.
It is going to be hard for some people to accept, but that is the truth.
Mate, what's hard to accept is that if the allegations are true, as you say, why the truck did you do nothing about it? If you were there and you witnessed it, why did you do nothing about it? Just doesn't make sense. Unless you've got an agenda behind feeling butthurt about being kicked out of a green role warfighting squadron.
Witness accounts say the soldiers, including Ben Robert Smith, discussed what to do with the handcuffed and injured detainee. It was allegedly agreed another soldier kill him, and he was shot dead.
The allegation is that he was kicked off the cliff and then was executed at the bottom of the cliff.
The allegation of this potential war crime is vehemently denied by Robert Smith and his supporters, who in turn accuse critics of jealousy and medal envy.
Your Excellency, I present to you.
Well, there's clearly some medal envy, isn't there? Like just listening to and reading some of the articles. One of the ones that I did a live reaction on not that long ago, where one of the witnesses requested to have RS's Victoria Cross rescinded 2 years after it was awarded. Like, what a joke. What a pathetic little person, little boy that person is. I won't even call him a pathetic little man, pathetic little boy, whoever that person is, to request to the ADF to rescind Ben Robert Smith's Victoria Cross. Like, if that doesn't sound like there's some jealousy in there somewhere, I don't know what does.
Corporal Benjamin Robert Smith, awarded the Victoria Cross for Australia.
This is, to me, it just stinks. It's disgusting. And that's how strongly I feel about coming forward.
It stinks and it's disgusting. Is this the same Sergeant Ballbag Barber who was one of the cowards that stayed in the background? Is it? I don't know. There's so many, all these different bloody witnesses. There's a witness that followed RS in the Battle of Tizak, got a Medal of Gallantry. I don't know if that's this guy. Well done to him if it is. There's another guy who RS, which I think is good on him, if this guy was a coward in that Battle of Tizak, said that he'll cover the rear, has got a bee in his bonnet about RS for being called a coward. I mean, you know, you call a spade, right? If you don't have the courage and are not willing and ready to assault forward when the crap is hitting the fan, as it clearly was in the battle, in that particular battle of Tizak for their area and where they were, and you want to just stay at the back, well, yeah, the lads are going to let you hear about it. Especially Australian lads. Like, they're gonna tell you how much of a coward you are, and they're gonna rip into you, and you're gonna get awards for Cock of the Year like Andrew Wastebag did, and probably a whole bunch of other awards based on your actions or inaction. So, you know, is that who this guy is? And then there's some other twat who disputed maybe it's the same guy who disputed, the citation, saying you said you covered 50 meters. I paced it out. It was only like 42 or something. Is what Scott Jones said. It's quite funny when Scott Jones mentions it on Sam Bamford's Two Worlds Collide podcast. But just who are these people? Just seem to have low integrity, low courage, like no courage, because I assume they're not serving anymore, and they're gutless, like in terms of if you want to see justice done, and if 3 of yous killed 3 of the 5 alleged war crimes of which RS has been accused of committing, where's your character and where's your courage to go, yep, I need to face the music for what I did? There is none, because you've sought immunity so that you can have a sook and a whinge and a cry and a moan about how you were made to feel useless. Because it sounds like you were. You must have been useless to get the boot out of the squadron. And I don't know what's happened there in the unit, whereby it seems like there's been some allowances made to keep you bloody twats there. Anyway.
It's a bad look. A very bad look.
How do you feel when people say, oh, this is all about taking down our war heroes. The SAS, our war heroes, it's about taking the SAS down.
No. A hero is not someone who harms individuals, innocent individuals.
Coming up, Special Forces on the front line.
All you're focused on is your kill count.
Fighting Australia's longest
Did I just hear him say all you're focused on is your kill count from Dirtbag Wasty?
war.
You have to be hard of heart, and you become emotionally calloused.
But did unbearable pressure
Beating them with their rifle butts, kicking them in the face, stomping on their heads.
lead to deadly decisions?
Did you begin to worry that some people thought
So he's saying that's what he witnessed, or is that what he did? Oh, Wastebag?
that they could be judge, jury, and executioner in the field?
Not only did we think that we were
Who's this guy?
ordered to be that.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
Interesting. There's a new face there. I've never seen it. I then definitely haven't seen this video before.
And you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
I mean, look at how that... I'm no building expert or demolitions expert when it comes to buildings collapsing. But I just don't see how buildings like that, plane crashing into the top, causes the collapse of those buildings to start coming down like that. I don't know, that looks like some sort of controlled demolition experts placements of to get this blinking top-down destruction of this building or of the buildings. Anyway, I don't know. It's probably all in there, weaved in those conspiracy theories somewhere.
We saw the first tower and then the second tower, and then both of them come down.
And that's the moment you said to yourself, I want to surf.
Yeah, I just felt at that moment that this was a significant moment in history.
You also said you wanted to be a journalist too, mate, based on the other article that I read. You should have just stayed being a bloody padre at your private school.
And I didn't want to be on the sidelines.
Andrew Hastie is a West Australian federal MP with Anzac in his veins. As a boy, he...
A bloody waste of oxygen is what he is.
loved hearing his granddad's tales about being a flying boat gunner in World War II. Years later, he was outraged by the 9/11 attacks on America and decided to join the army.
Our forces will be overseas fighting in our name within a very short period of time.
Hastie didn't know it then, but Afghanistan would claim 41 Australian lives over 13 long years. Now it has triggered our longest war crimes investigation. After his first tour of Afghanistan in 2009, Hastie applied to join the SAS, mentally and physically tough.
I definitely haven't seen this documentary before, or this news piece.
He passed the grueling selection trial.
When I was on selections, I remember thinking, why are we walking around with no food, with 50 kilos on our back, with no sleep, carrying heavy stuff? I thought, what are they trying to get at here? And then it clicked. They're testing your ability to endure pain and fatigue. Ultimately, selection is about who can hold their hand on the hot plate the longest. And, war is a contest of wills.
Hastie returned to Afghanistan in 2013 as an SAS captain, but says by then the war effort was bogged down and was losing its purpose.
When you're doing force protection and your job is to remove enemy threats from the battlefield, of course, your capture and kill count becomes a metric by which you judge the success of your deployment.
How many people?
There you go. He's mentioned it as well. So just reiterating what Scott Jones said, metric being used, your kill count, your capture, etc., as a measure of your success.
You've killed, basically.
That's right, or captured.
It's probably the only couple of honest things he said is his perception and take of selection, and then the kill counts metric that was being used to determine a level of success, I guess, in terms of the operation overall.
Now, of course, killing and capturing bad guys is the job of soldiers. But Hastie was worried that a decade into the war and frustrated by a lack of progress, there was a risk a small number of his Special Forces colleagues may have begun to chase kills.
Is there a danger that starts to sort of erode, for some people at least, the morality of what they're doing?
Yeah, if all you're focused on is your kill count, well, there's incentive to kill, and that may not be the way forward, particularly when you're...
If you had the feeling that there was soldiers or operators, all they were focused on was the kill count, what did you do, Captain? What did you do, the captain who failed his CQB course but was comforted in the article that I read and allowed to stay at the regiment, didn't receive his beret with his cohort, was still given a troop to command, and then I assume at the very least you did the whole course again, the CQB course again, and managed to hopefully pass the second time around? Whereas those that had failed had already been RTU'd, which is the group that you should have been sent home with. Like, what did you do, Captain Wank Stain Wasty? What did you do if you had the suspicion that people were just concerned about their kill counts?
You're unsure of the overarching strategic objective.
But it wasn't just Andrew Hastie who had concerns about the lack of purpose or
who's this guy?
Erosion of professional discipline in small pockets of the Special Forces. And it wasn't just the SAS.
When you set the conditions for a culture to breed and grow in a certain way, the Special Forces culture is built around
Who is this guy? Like, hurry up and show his name.
superiority and entitlement, you know, and heroism and service and courage. But also there's a lot of ego in the game.
Australian Commando David Wegman was deployed.
David Wegman. Bloody hell, I didn't see too many soldiers wearing bloody earrings.
To Afghanistan 4 times. Like Hastie, he's proud of his war service, but says that by 2012, the rules of engagement for some may have become blurred as the emphasis shifted to kill counts.
Did you begin to worry that some people thought that they could be the judge, jury and executioner in the field?
Not only did we think that we were ordered to be that.
Ordered to be what?
Judge, jury and executioner, literally.
Well, I'm glad I've been sent this again. Shout out Christian over in Perth. Thank you for sending this through. He's saying they were ordered to do that. Ordered by a trooper? Ordered by a corporal? Where did that order come from? Orders come from top down. So I'm interested to hear where these orders came from this guy. David, was it David Wegman? Webman. Anyway.
Ordered to be what?
Judge, jury and executioner, literally.
You can't hear anything on the chopper, you can't really have any conversations. You might occasionally...
As David showed me some of his own battlefield videos, he explained the difficulty many soldiers faced deciding who was friendly and who was hostile.
They are a farmer when they are a farmer, and then they are the Taliban when they are the Taliban.
The never-ending problem, Australians were there to...
And he sits there and says that with a smile. They are a farmer when they are the farmer, they are the Taliban when they are the Taliban. That just seems naive and stupid. They are the Taliban 100% of the time whilst they're there, doing farm duties and looking to whatever that way is for them to provide for their family. Can't tell me that, today, for this period of time, I'm just the farmer. And then, you know what? I think I'm going to be a Taliban today, and I'm going to start shooting and engaging and trying to take out as many coalition forces as I can. And then if I start getting overrun, I'm going to go back to being a farmer. They are Taliban insurgents the entire time. The whole time. Same with they call them ISIS brides. Same with the ISIS females that have gone back to Australia, that have been welcomed back into Australia by that piss-weak Labor government. They are ISIS the entire time. They are not, well, you've let them back into Australia, you Australians, thanks to the piss-weak Labor government, who can change laws when it suits them to do with superannuation, to do with capital gains tax, to do with power to do with trust funds, but they can't change the laws to prevent people that have deserted their country to go and be with a known terrorist organization. They can't change the law to stop those people from coming back to their country. Mind-blowing to me.
Protect the Afghan people from the Taliban. But those same Afghans would frequently turn on them, launching deadly attacks. And to add insult, when prisoners were captured, a corrupt and chaotic Afghan justice system meant they were often quickly released and able to rejoin the war.
There's a revolving door at the judicial system. Like, that pressure gives you a sense of hopelessness in what it is to take someone prisoner. The danger on the battlefield is that when you get put in a more ambiguous situation, your tendency is going to be erring on the side of killing them, rather than, giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Good on this guy for showing his face. Like, I think he's the commando guy that they said. Like, credit to him for showing his face. I don't know that I align with a lot of what he's talking about or what he has spoken about so far, but at least he's had the balls, right, to show his face on camera and talking about what it is, his perception of things. I'd be interested to see and know if he starts pointing fingers and naming people, whether from the regiment or whether from 2 Commando, if that's where he's from. So, yeah, we'll watch this for a little bit longer.
Immensely frustrating. You capture a known Taliban bomb maker or leader, and because of the need for evidence to satisfy the growing Afghan judicial system, if you didn't have evidence, well, then 3 days later he was released, and then you're going back out again. The question's going through your mind: why are we doing this again? Why are we risking our lives again just to release him in 3 days' time?
Andrew,
man, that's a really good point in terms of what Andrew's talking about there, or waste bag, I should call him. Capturing guys looking to do the right thing, taking them in, because he used the words there, you've got a known bomb maker. Like, this person is a known bomb maker for the Taliban in the area. You've caught him. You take him back. It sounds like the Afghan judicial system, trying to empower them, trying to help them take the lead, take charge, to dish out punishment in accordance with how they want their country to be operating. But then sounds like those known insurgents, those known Taliban fighters, those known bomb makers were just being released, waste his own words, 3 days later. That no doubt has to play a physical and mental toll on everyone, on all the operators there. Yeah, that's a very valid point. Those guys that have now been released, they carry a whole bunch of intelligence with them. Number sizes, potential weapon systems, how they operate, likely courses of action, areas where they're likely to approach from, etc., like just a bunch of real valuable intel that they can take back to their Taliban superiors, I guess, and or apply in regards to how they want to better position themselves for next time, should they be raided again. Whether that's placement of IEDs, whether that's the better use of and or additional use of particular parts of the landscape, etc. It's just, man, that'd just be a treasure trove for them. And clearly there must be some, if you've got Taliban insurgents in the military, the Afghan military, and they're able to get through all the vetting to get into compounds with coalition forces and then go and murder a number of coalition forces, you can't tell me they don't have those same people hidden and embedded within the ranks of their government.
Hastie says frustration could have encouraged some Special Forces soldiers to write their own rulebook.
If there were prisoners who were executed, what impact did that have on the ground?
I think it would have turned the population against us. If you're trying to make inroads to the population, that sort of behaviour does nothing for you.
I don't know why.
I'm going to pause this here. Not sure how long this has been going on for, but I've got some other work to do. Thank you again, Christian over in WA, for sending this through. Almost got through halfway, but we'll come back to this. I'll do some other stuff, and we'll do another reaction or two to this later on. So thank you for your time, for your support. Feel free to whack in your thoughts and comments below, even if they're different to mine. Yeah, I don't care. Like, chuck in your comments. I don't block comments. If that's what you want to do, if you want to add your part, if you think I'm being unreasonable in my assessments of these witnesses, these cowardly witnesses, whatever, whack it in the comments. I don't care. I'm not going to block your comments. Go to town if you like. But anyway, we'll leave this one here, as I mentioned, and I'll come back and do another reaction later on. So look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.